What's going on, guys? AutoMatthic here, bringing you the Week 4 power rankings of the UBL D-League. We're in the 4th week, and of course I am not alone. I am again joined by IrishEmerald.
Hey guys, what's up?
Ready, man, to jump into some more power rankings, still keeping it up?
Some more hot trash, you know, that we're going to set out,
More
yeah?
hot trash. That's actually
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it, man. Looking forward.
Yeah, we actually had an interesting week. I mean, it's pretty much been saying it all season. It's still
strange.
Yeah, strange
week
week
was
too.
interesting, but this week was strange. I felt it was a very strange week.
Yeah, it definitely had some things which I didn't expect happening. But hey, if it does, then let's reflect on it, see how it goes. And the first team we're gonna talk about is because. Again, is this the first time we agree on the number 10?
Yes, I think it is. We never agreed on number 10, but this week we do.
We do. It is for the both of us, Chicago Shaymin-Sky, who find themselves at the number 10 spot after taking a 3-0 L against the Toronto Totodile, if I remember that correctly. I think I do.
Yeah, that's correct.
So, first off, one thing I did want to mention is that I think that the matchup in general was pretty rough, because I think Squid's team naturally checks a lot of her threats, like Mega Mala and Superior are basically, she didn't brawl for good reasons, because they don't do work, but if you have to leave home two of your biggest threats already, because they naturally don't work, you're already in a pickle.
I've been saying this all season. I've been saying this all season. Not enough power on our squad. There's not.
One thing here is that we all know that
Welcome to my life! Welcome to my life, Otto! I've said it all season long. She's not got enough power there, and lo and behold, 4 weeks in. Sorry, Irish, you're right.
Yeah, we're gonna the season is by far not over, but thing is though that I still think the team will not finish at 10 in power. It's here currently because that's how the season goes, but like I said, Mega Man Superior poorly matchup. The thing that could have been better, in my opinion, is that we have established that we know Squid and we know his team. It's very offensive, and I feel like if you take the route at trying to bulk check certain mons of him, that you eventually will get beat down because he has too much setup. He has too much offensive power to be contained, especially by Sarge Ross. Like, yes, she does have Miltank, she does have she can run defensive Arcanine, she has a Dusknoir, stuff like that, but it's never going to be enough to outbulk Squid. So I felt like this was one of those matchups where Sarge had to set like, screw it, I'm going hyper offense, gonna throw in my threats, gonna try and make him choke again, just as he did in week 3. And we're gonna get back to choke and Squid later, but I felt like that was her approach this week, and she didn't go. It's also an approach you have to, of course, choose for. Like, it's something that has to somewhat fit you, and if it doesn't, it can end up really badly. But I felt like by going hyper offense, especially against a team Squid brought, she could still lose, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying if you bring hyper offense you're gonna win this match, but I felt like it could have at least been closer differential wise by that, and maybe more fun experience for her own. Now to go into some place she made, which I thought iffy, is you go defensive, right, but still no real switch in for Tornadus. Personally feel like that, and what she ends up doing because of that is going Miltank, which was her only switch into Zygarde 10%, and she just loses Miltank. So you're going with the more bulkier-ish team here, with Dougie as a revenge, with also Shibra, with like Jolteon Lalia, so not too much breaking power. You're gonna go more balanced / defensive, and then you just don't bring a switch in for one of the mons, and you sack, because of that, a switch into one of the biggest threats of your opponent's team against you, because besides Miltank there really was no switch for Zygarde. And that's turn 3 already, and then we haven't even talked about turn 1, where Dougie is just sacked out of nowhere. It's just like, not even the cogs. Like, that was the thing that surprised me the most. Like, you should always calc that. If you're a lead matchup, if you're Dark Trio in, you should always check if that Galvantula, which is right in front of you, can knock you out, because it does have moves to hit you with. And I don't get that, why you just sack Dark Trio to get 80% or something off on Galvantula, especially considering there's a Zod X sitting right there, which can never hold the what's the item again? It can never hold the Shed Shell. So you know that you can always reliably trap Charizard if needed, and that's one huge threat gone against your team. So I didn't really understand the early game in that sense, and I think the early game already sets this whole one up to the 3-0L it became.
Yeah, I think she made a mistake turn 1. Because it was a bad matchup. She should have preserved Doug Trio, because it was, like, for me, I'm assuming it was scarfed. Star hasn't been able to upload.
I think it was banded.
I don't even know.
Don't quote me on that. I think it was banded.
I don't know if that was the right decision in prep either, you know. But regardless, I feel like, you know, that was a mistake there, and she knew it was a mistake afterwards. It was unlucky that, you know, she wanted into range of Swarm and, you know, Bug was killed, but like, the energy ball is the thing on Galvantula, so unless this thing was going to be sashed or you had multiple answers for Zard, I don't understand why. In here, a strange decision. But I think she realized it was a bad move and then tilted turn 2, because you can't lose Miltank at all. Like, something else can go, like Dusknoir can go or something, but you can't lose Miltank if you lose Doug Trio the way she did. So I think she tilted very hard there, because she didn't analyze what was going on around her, and it was just eventually at that point it was GG, because her team was broken and there was enough offense on, you know, on Squid's side to be able to say, I can eventually, you know, bully Sard to win this game in whatever way I want to, and that's exactly what happened. She did try to get back into a little bit.
Especially for the start she had. It's when I was watching, I was like, oh, okay, this 3-0, that's still, considering the start she had by losing Dougie turn 1 and Miltank turn 3, I was still like, okay, only a 4-0 isn't even that bad at that point.
Yeah, I know. I think she did well, and she didn't make it easy for Squid to bring in Zard and Sweep. She never made that easy. She didn't make it easy for him. She didn't make it like Squid had to come up with like another answer than like Zard with the game, even though Zard broke through her team. She never allowed Squid to be comfortable enough to bring in Zard to set up. So that made it like, you know, she did kind of like showcase a good bit of skill there in that regard, but it was too little too late. GG's at that point, which is a big shame, because you could definitely argue that if she picked up the W here, she would not be number 10. So if there was any week for her to get out of my number 10 slot, it would have been this week, had she been able to get either a better performance or a W here against Squid, but just wasn't to be for her this week.
Yeah, there's always next week, man. We're still week 4, so gonna see how things turn out. But I think it's time we move on to number 9, and again we are in a agreement here, so a streak of 2, that's already happening. New South Wilmus, which for you stick at number 9, and for me are going to drop 2 spots again. Bertrick and L this time against help me a bit, I'm kind of lost in the team. I get the Race wins, right?
JB.
Yeah, JB and Race wins, okay. I was kind of blanking on that one. Few things to get right at the bat is the team, or the way it was played, felt really unprepared for offensive Zapdos.
Yes.
And I know Crocodile is there, but Crocodile is either not brought with the correct set or used incorrectly, because technically if you bring a decent Crocodile set, it should be able to deal with Zapdos, but Zapdos was really able to run through the team at this point in time. Another thing which I didn't really get was and I'm sure you agree, switching in a Clefable at a +2 Scissor. I think, and again, don't quote me, it might be, because we have to watch 10 videos of these guys, it might be that we sometimes switch things up. He was of course type Berry, so he was probably baning a Sword Stance there, activate Berry, and then I assume he had like Flamethrower or something, but like he
had the flamethrower. No, he had the flamethrower. No, that's exactly what he was thinking of doing. He was going to go in bait. He was going to go SD, again to get the +4. He was going to eat the berry, and in his mind, if he got the +4, it was GG, because he had nothing for Scizor, so it was going to be GG for him at that point. So that's the reason why he made that risk out, because JB just went straight for the SD, and then of course it would be the Roost, and Scizor was going to be knocked around for a lot longer than originally thought, and then of course JB had a fantastic prep with the Octo Berry, but never kind of worked out. But I think the big thing is, right, we can sit here and talk about like Clefable, what Bird did there, trying to bring Clefable on that, but you have a Ferrothorn in the back.
Yeah,
you bring that in. If it's +4 and it goes for the U-turn, at least you lose Ferrothorn, but he has to go U-turn to kill you. He cannot go VP, and you could go for Elite Seed or whatever. Like you can phase him out a little bit more. And if he does not get out the U-turn, at least you got rid of +4 Scizor, and like you actually have a bit more of a chance. You're not going to get like totally thrown away here. Clefable is still relatively healthy. I don't understand it. It was a strange one. Strange one.
Yeah, and then something else which also keeps going back to me, that so far the only W the Wilmers have is a Hex one, so that's all they got so far. And I'm also really not a fan of him dropping Buzzwole, for those of you guys that haven't gone on with the transactions. I'm not saying I necessarily disagree with the transactions as a whole, but I think Buzzwole is, when used right, such a key mon on his team that you cannot drop that. So that is also something which makes me second guess it. I'm not sure how you feel about the transactions he made. Just for the viewers to be sure, he dropped Drampa for Manphy, Buzzwole for Machamp, Nielego for Neuven. And even though he dropped one of his ground weak mons in Nielego and he gained Neuven, which is his second ground immunity besides Rufflet right now, I still feel like he should not drop Buzzwole.
Call, but we have stated several times that the ground weakness on the Wilmers team is severe. So on a whole, I agree with it, because it's patched up a major weakness. Like we saw week 1, like
it got split.
Zygarde and Donphan, and those two won the game for him. It was easy, because all I had to do was click 1,000 arrows with Psydog or Earthquake with Donphan. Donphan cleaned up. What? Like, so for me, on a whole I agree, but I definitely take your point that seeing Buzzwole being dropped is, but you gotta take, like, I'll take dropping Buzzwole for patching up the team. It's a bit like selling your star player to get a better squad. So I'm with that. I'm going to go along with him. Another couple of things though before I know I'm taking the reins here, Otto. So a couple of other things before we move on from Bird. I wished Bird was way more aggressive with Coco in this game, because there was very little answers that JB had for Coco, and I wish he was way more aggressive using it, trying to get position Coco way more often in the game, so he could drop Gleams and Thunderbolts. I feel if he was managing to be able to do that, it could have been a lot better. It could have had a lot more easier time playing against JB, particularly if he sacked Ferrothorn like we were talking about. He could bring in Coco. He's got no answers really for Coco in the matchup after Tyranitar goes down. So really would have loved to see Coco being used more aggressively. And look, it's been fun, Rufflet, but seriously, buddy, come on, Rufflet has not done a thing since week 2.
It got its skill. That's what it's going to do the whole season already. Like,
yeah, it's done its job. It's been fun, but come on, right? Park it for a couple of weeks and let's see if we can do something else with it, because it's not going good, Bird. I'm not gonna lie. So hopefully he can bounce back soon, and and hopefully he can take on somebody and start climbing up the rankings.
For sure. So let's move on to my number 8, which is at number 7 for you, the Arkasan Razor wins, which had a really
take
good
this. Can I take this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I take this? I'm going to lead, right? Because JB, my boy JB, week upon week, you've been sitting here, Otto, dropping this guy down to 10, 9 the whole lot. And I was like, no, JB's got it in him. I still had him number 7. He is not the worst team in this league. And lo and behold, JB pulls through. JB pulls through with a big win. Thank you, JB. Thank you, my buddy. Love you. Brilliant. Moving on. No need to talk about it anymore. Great win. Brilliant. Brilliant.
Honestly,
right, JB. Love it. Love it.
It was a really solid performance overall, and we already touched on it. He played really well week 1. 2 and 3 was really poor, still in my opinion, but in basically after week 1 he was the best coach to lose, and he's getting back there. He now had a really solid W over Bird as well. He just knew what his win cons were, how to get him in, how to pressure, and ultimately pick up the W with that. So I'm not sure if you want to go more in depth about his play, since you're so enthusiastic about him.
The only thing I didn't like the fact that he lost T-Tar so easily and so early, because that was his special wall, that was the answer to Coco. Once that was gone, there was nothing. I mean, there was nothing to stop Coco. So as we were just meant to talking, Bird brought Coco in a lot more aggressively. JB had nothing for him. So
well, the one time Bird did brought it in aggressively, it took 80% from Zapdos. So
yeah, but there was no like. You know what I mean? You gotta pick and choose your moments and try and like predict the opponent to make the move and bring in Coco and all that kind of good stuff. We see other coaches in the league who are well able to do that, and when they see a weakness, they've exploited it. Just haven't seen Bird do it. But I feel like I wish JB didn't lose T-Tar as early as it did, but it happened. But he played very well with great switch initiative to keep the pressure on, allow him to bring in Coco easily. So that's the reason why I would like Bird to kind of maybe maneuver himself into a different position so that he would have been able to bring in Coco a lot more. But JB did a great job neutering that and stopping him from doing any of that shenanigans. So GG, buddy. Thank you very much, JB. Love it. Love it.
Right.
We must rename the series, right, from Auto being from the power rankings to Auto being wrong and Irish being right.
We
must rename the series to this.
We're in week 4, buddy. We're in week 4.
I am speaking the gospel, guys. JB, I was saying it all the time. He'll come good, and this week he came good for me. Love it, JB.
Alright, hold up. We're in week 4. He has 1 W. We're going to take it slow here. But anyway, speaking of take it slow, we also. Again, I'm keep moving this one up, and here we go. Toronto Tyrantrums at number 7 for me this week, still number 8 for you. So indeed, the teams that I did have bottom for a long time, now it's 7 and 8. So there we go, progression. Again, for third week in a row, really. Second, I almost mistaken there. For the second week in a row, really solid performance against a team which we. As really high ranked in throughout the power rankings so far, as he played the Salt Lake City Swampards with Tom Brother, so definitely good W there. Also the way he played the game by again bringing offensive Mew. You know, I'm a fan of offensive Mew. He used it again this way to break the team, like find that little spot where you can go through, tear it somewhat apart, and put a team in a position of no return, which is exactly what he did with Mew. Mew doesn't have to sweep, Mew has to make it. Mew has to be a bitch for your opponent, whether it be prep-wise or in-game-wise. And again, that's what he did. He just used Mew very efficiently, and with that, Mew died also as well, I think, but he actually got his team in a position where he just could go safely into the end game and just claim W like that.
Huge win. You got to say, a huge win for 6 here. He's 2-2. What a great response after a miserable start. So huge win for him. But as you said, it was up against a coach that we had highly ranked. So it was brilliant to see 6 Snyder W against them. I love the fact that he knew what damage he needed to get on Mega Diancie to win as his win con. Love that. That's brilliant prep, brilliant knowledge, brilliant know-how in the game to know what you need to get on Diancie. Fantastic. I would have liked to have seen him go for Altaria when it was the double KO. because he should have been a lot more aggressive there, and says, no, Altaria wins the game here no matter what. D-Dance, kill, GG. But, you know, that's a small gripe I have, you know, against it. But I think, and there was a couple of other things that, I think there was one other thing, just one probably drawback to it was that just he doesn't notice small things, I find, in battles. And I'm nitpicking, I know I'm nitpicking, but there was one case in his icon where he literally just looked at, he was looking at something, he was looking away from the screen, and he didn't take notice as to the damage a Pokemon took. And now for me, that's very key info there, like, because by noticing how much damage a model can take, like, you know, you can kind of start sussing out what the set is. So if you don't, if you're not taking tabs on these sort of things, you know, it's just a small gripe. I would like them to kind of be a little bit more aware whenever he's going up against somebody. Like it was great against the Yancy, so I know he can do it, but I want him to do it for every 6 months. I got this chip on that one by doing this move, so therefore there's potential that it's going to be this set. I'm going to keep my eye on that, and he'll have that knowledge later on in the game where he's like, okay, I still kind of think that this one's going to be that, so I'm not too worried. I can, you know, and I can start placing my team together and go from there. So that's why I am with that. Great win by 6, love it. I was brave bringing the spikes with a Mega Diancie against Mega Diancie team. So it was brave, worked. GG, buddy. The only reason why I don't have you high is because he deserves to stay number 7 for me.
Yeah, I mean, you kept your whole 10 to 7 the same spots.
Well, you know, it was close. It was tough between 6 and JB now, but I was like, JB, you rewarded me with my my faith in you. So you're staying at number 7, buddy. No problem.
All right, and with that, let's move on to the number 6, and we're gonna show you guys something unique too, because basically throughout the whole season, you had the Toronto Tyrantrums higher than I had, and that switched around. And we're gonna switch something else around, but now the other way around. This is the first time you have the Slovenian Slowbros higher in your power rankings than I have. And that after that post-draft power, I still don't want to hear that I bash teams looking back at how you butchered this team in the post-draft power rankings. But it's sitting at number 5 for you.
Because Otto, he made changes. He improved the roster. He made changes, right? He took the criticism on board, realized what was going on, made changes, and now look, he's grown. He's improved in my eyes, right? If anything, I've helped. I haven't bashed. I've helped. You know, so you know, don't be coming down and crapping my style here. You know.
Yeah, right.
He's there now, and he deserves to be number 5 in my eyes. He deserves it.
Yeah, even though that he took his second L, I still don't feel he played a bad game at all. The thing is that in prep, I feel like his team overall was too defensive for Veps's team, and we'll talk about how Veps responded to that later. But in some way, I get it, because his setup options are should be pretty limited to like Lando. And if your opponent doesn't have too many setup sweepers to break through, then hey, bulk might be a decent way. But I felt like he was a little bit too afraid of the offensive pressure that Vepsis could put in there, because I don't really feel like Vepsis brought that much more of an offensive team than he usually did. Like, he has been bringing the same style of build. Like, of course he does, he still brings a different win con almost every week or different aspects, but his play style altogether has been, maybe barring 1 week, has been kind of the same, which is his typical playstyle and works really well. So I didn't really agree with the full-on defensive build from the Slowbros this week, as I feel like to counter Vepsis, his play is to actually be more aggressive and like kill him before he kills you. But even though, considering the team he had, I still don't think it worked out poorly. He still was able to keep his head in the game relatively well, make decent plays. And of course, he was up against the number 1 power rank team for the whole season so far, and the only undefeated team left. I think he took the smallest L we had so far against him. Not entirely sure about that. But
It's tied.
Yeah, but okay, so I'm curious how you, because you put it actually up +1, I actually kept it at number 6. I'm curious to hear why you chose to bump the team up by 1 spot.
Because I believe, as it currently stands, that Marlott could be, even though they played already, Marlott would beat my number 16 this week. I would feel Marlott will beat my number 16. So that's the reason why he's ahead. And like for me, his play was very solid, very good. I had no gripe as to what he did in the battle. It was just in prep. He got outdone by some fantastic prep. Like had for his team was like, it was insane. And for me, it was just that one team had this incredible prep, solid, good prep. And when it came to, I think battle skill are fine, was just one coach was on another level with their prep. And of course, you know, if you fail to prepare, then you prepare to fail. You know, that as the saying goes. So like, obviously Marla didn't have the prep this week, but for me, battling wise, I thought it was very impressive. And he's also got Gliscor coming into the squad now, so that removes another weakness on his team. For him a little bit. He's got 2 tough L's in the last 2 weeks, but he's starting to shape up for him a little bit more. And look, hopefully he can get a W against one of these top 4 teams, because he's in top 5 now. So he's got to start, like, you know, he's got to show him like why he should be there rather than being in the bottom 5. So, you know, I'm impressed, buddy. I'm delighted, absolutely delighted.
Alright, gonna see. But with that, we're gonna move on to your number 6 and my number 5, which we again swap. The Salt Lake City Swampers, which after been dropping out the top 3 last week, they're not really reclaiming their grounds as it is.
Oh no, he was atrocious this week. Like he was a mess. Like that was shocking. That was shocking. Like there was what was going on? Like what was going on? Like I know like he was in the game from start to finish. Auto. He was never in the game. Not one bit. Mostly in control the whole time. Now he was getting chippy, he was knocking a few ones out of the way, but it was only because Six was looking to win the game and he knew he needed X damage and he was letting ones go down so he can keep the momentum on his side. Like I don't know what was going on. Like, how does a team with Mega Diancie allow spikes? It's mad. I don't understand it. And Hazard just run rush shot over his game because he doesn't bring removal, so he gets absolutely. The Garborda prep and execution was poor in my eyes. I know what it was there to kind of deal with Altaria, but like I wasn't meant to do anything to Altaria. If Altaria brings Dragon coverage, like Garborda's still going to go wreck because he's carrying the air balloon. Like that one. If that was his Altaria answer and he allowed to lose both the balloon and get killed, like. I don't know what was going on. He never seemed to have the potential. Like there was never the potential other than Diancie to deal with Dragon type moves. But there was, I can guarantee you, it was going to be return if there was a Dragon type move, D-Lance and EQ. And like there was no hard answer. There was like these soft little answers for Altaria, but there was no real hard answer for it, and he just got wrecked. How does he not bring Celesteela when he has it? Celesteela, they just sits in front of this thing and says, "Come at me, brah." And what? I don't get it. Altaria's one of the main balls in his team. He doesn't bring it. This is crazy. Oh, it was Tom's worst performance by far. And once Six got into Slugfest, like Six let the first one go down. Yeah, first to go down so he can get spikes. And automatically, like he's one mod up after 2 turns, and Six just got back into the Slugfest. And at that point, this is a matter of time because it's for Six to get the GG, because it has his weapons on the side of the field. He didn't have the answers for the big threats like Celesteela. Celesteela was a massive bring this week. He should have brought it, in my eyes. And look, you know, bottom 6, so he's number 6 now, and doesn't look good. Doesn't look good that he's gonna bounce back. If I'm being honest, atrocious.
Well, to add a little bit more, I was definitely surprised not to see Celesteela either. Another mon which I was also kind of surprised not to see was Garchomp, as I think Garchomp actually has overall a pretty decent matchup for Sinix. Not that much better than like Status Steel was a must bring this week, but I also feel like Chomp definitely had his uses, like being able to always switch in on the stack attacker, being able to always switch in on a Sinner or stuff like that, just to position yourself a little bit better. I know Mew is there and all that stuff, but still, I don't think it had a bad matchup. The poor has control struck again, and you already touched on this briefly, but I think this is the second or the third week that his opponent could just freely hazard stack versus him, and he couldn't do anything about it. And he ended up losing this one. We already talked a few weeks back about how he felt like he choked away a game and still ended up winning. So he had his quote-unquote bad game of the season and still came out with a W, but this time he didn't. And at that point, you gotta reconsider certain things, especially the hazard control is something big. This team should be looking at what matchups are left, how good are the hazard controls or the hazard setting options of my opponents, because that might just be so, like you saw with Mew. I think the damage that Alola Merrick had to take on entry was enough to put it in range for Psychic Mew, and he didn't have to predict anything. Mew could just click Psychic all over again and just claim kills as it goes. So that's really where I feel like that we established this early season that it has controls pool, but it's now actually going to really bite him in the ass over the past couple of weeks.
It's just not good enough. And as you said, he had his bad week last week, and we were like, look, but everyone has a bad week. I still think he's better than all the coaches below him. I don't think it's going to be. It's not the case at the moment. And that was, as I said, that's the reason why I have Marlon number 5 over Thumb, because I reckon if they were battling next week, even though Thumb leaked out the win when they faced earlier in the season, I think if it was next week they're battling, Marlon wins the game, because Thumb is shocking at the moment. Shocking.
Yeah, because he still has enough time to recap. I think in the actual rankings he's 5 or 6 as well at this point with 2 and 2. So he's definitely not out of the race. We're still a lot of weeks left, so definitely I'm still thinking he could definitely still make it, but he has to get stuff together and again start playing as he did in week 1 and 2, because that was really great, and hope he can get back to that level sooner than later. But let's move on to the next team, which is going to be, for me, number 4, the Appalachian Thunders, which I dropped 1 spot. You did the same, you dropped it from 2 to 3. I want to be harsh and I don't want to be harsh, and I think that it's a really double feeling for me this week when I look at Ashmore, and I think you kind of have the same. Like, we both still think the team is good, the way Ashmore usually plays is good, but this week, man.
Look, we just mentioned everyone gets like a pass 1 week, and for me, this is Ash's pass, because I think everyone throughout the season weeks where it's just not going to click. Confidence is low. IRL takes over. And you're like mentally you're just not in the right place to do a league battle. And I think that's just what happened with Ash this week. And he explained everything in this video perfectly. He was just not in the right frame of mind for. He just had a sudden drop of confidence. He went in. He just couldn't make the right plays at all. He said it throughout his whole video. I made a mistake here, mistake there. Like, honestly, like, even just looking at the video, he was able to point out every single mistake. There's not one mistake that he did not point out that we can point out. He was open, he was honest, and said, "Was my week this week? I was a mess mentally. He wasn't in the right frame of mind for battling." And I just think that was it. I don't think we can't say too much more about it. He's dropped 1 for me. He's dropped 1 for you, because we still rate him very, very highly. I have full confidence that Ash would bounce back, and considering the fact that his other L is the Vestas, which was probably the best match of the season in my opinion so far, one of the best matches of this season so far, but he's still going to be thereabouts. He's going to be a contender at the end of the year for me. So look, hard week.
Alright guys, sorry for the quick cut there. Iris kinda cut out on. So you were talking about the Thunders and how they basically already explained everything themselves what went wrong. Stuff kicks in, and you still rank him higher than
you do.
Than most others.
he'll come back. He'll be fine. Like, it was just one of those weeks, and he said everything in his video. He just wasn't in the right frame of mind. IRL came in. He'll be a contender at the end of the year. No doubt about it in my eyes. He'll be a contender.
That's also why I'm still at 4, which is still relatively high. But we're going to see how he moves on from this and if he's able to kick back
Yes.
next week. But let's go to your number 4, which is going to be the Toronto Chodados. Chokin Squid is going. We have our Blazing Squid back in the building, clicking up that W.
Whoa. No. He's lukewarm. He isn't blazing. He was not red hot fire this week, right?
On.
He wasn't blazing a new trail or anything like that. He was lukewarm at best. He's not choking anymore, but lukewarm at best. Don't be giving blazing them 1 week after choking. Settle down. No way. Lukewarm at best.
Okay, then explain your thoughts here for him.
Look, listen. He's undercooked at the moment. But I will say it was a solid win here. It was a big win that he needed. Best performance by any stretch of the imagination. I feel like the prep was decent, executed relatively well. Turn 1 worked out very well for him, and Sar tilted after that. Inside 3 turns, he had 2 kills, and I feel like at that point, you're 6-4 up. You should be looking to get a 6-4 win. Oh, sorry, 6-0 win. You're 6-4 up. You have to break through the revenge killer for your for Mega Zardex, and you have to break through one of Sar's walls. You should be looking to 6-0 at that point. But my problem is that that never happened. It took him too long for him to notice that Zard could just set up and win. So it took him far too long for him to realize that, in my opinion. And I felt that it was called. He just, do you know what it was? He never seemed to get into overdrive for me. He never seemed to kick into 5th gear, not once. So it was a good performance. He got the win. I know crits happened, and that's the reason why he didn't. He never got the. He didn't, like, that obviously affected Diff slightly, but he wasn't aggressive enough for me. Never seemed to kick on outside of 2nd gear. So that's the reason why I'm like, he's lukewarm, undercooked.
I mean, it's still like, it was a really solid performance overall, and of course also small things like good prep on Sil Volley with U-turn instead of pardon shot for Superior and whatnot. Like it was just the match in general, how it felt to me for Squid was like another day at the office. Like it was enough to win. It was just, yeah, I think that's basically it. He just brought what he needed to brought and won the game. He had to take the bullet from me last week, as we had a really close top 5. I actually, which we can move over to right now, I actually put him at number 3. I still think our top 5 is still really close. So Squid had to take the bullet last week for choking. He's back for it now, for me at least.
Oh, well, a bit more to go there with me now, I'm not gonna lie, buddy.
Let's see. Anyways, we've talked about Squid, so let's move on. Number 2 remains for me, and you're now agreeing with it to Scandinavia Stoutlands. The 6-0 man. He is actually the one who's gonna get it under its belt for against Ashmore.
Yeah, I think we can be honest, like, he did everything right. Ash just had a horrible week. So
yeah, but he also like, of course you have those weeks where your opponent isn't playing his best, and we already went off Ashmore, but as an opponent you also need to be consistent enough and well thought of to take advantage of that every single time throughout the game, and that's what Skyrunner did really well this week.
Look, did everything right, took advantage of what was in front of him, executed perfectly, prep was solid. It was just unfortunate that we didn't get to see a better game, but hopefully these two can face off in playoffs and we can get the match that we were looking forward to last week. So I think that's all that can be said. Like, it was a great performance. I thought it went up 1 for me because he bet my number 2. So,
also,
I can't fault it.
Can we quickly just establish the fact that Conkelder is now the kill leader, and Mega Bayonet is not gonna get your video, Marlon. You're not gonna get it.
Oh my god!
Conkelder is at the top right now of the kill leader, and it's going to stay there. I got a real good feeling that, of course, he has some threats down below it, but I really got a good feeling. Like Skyrunner is feeling at Conkel way better. When the weeks goes by, he's playing it better, positioning it really great, bringing good sets, getting those skills, and keep in mind there's something he considered dropping, and now it's just leading his team, and he's really starting to feel how to use the Kong, and that makes me happy for sure.
That's the reason why you put Marla at number 6, is it? Because
No.
Bayonet wasn't the kill leader, so you're like, I don't need to rate this guy any higher than this. Like, you know,
if
his mega team, you know. Oh God,
he's not gonna get this video. I'm just saying it.
Come on,
it's
Marla,
not happening. Mega Bayonet is not
you,
going to be
Marla,
kill leader. No way. He is not going to be kill leader. But anyways, number 1 this week, once again, for the both of us, is going to be the Helsinki High Dragons. And to take this one off is, I feel like he took advantage really well of the defensive build of Walnut. And that's something I quickly touched on before. His quote-unquote real setup on his team is Landorus, which he also brought with setup, but so no special Landorus this week. But it's really hard to play out of a more defensive build from your opponent if you don't have too much setup. And he's like, let's just throw that weakness policy Kirim in there, that'll work. And it does. Like,
the execution of it was insane.
It wasn't the full execution. Like, of course, the plan was to get up light screen and then get hit by a move. This worked too, as he predicted. His opponent predicted Kirim to come in and just went for Focus Blast. But that's just one of the things here with Vebs' prep throughout the whole season. Even though things seem kinda, I'm not gonna call them bad sets or anything, but because of course they worked and it are great sets, but more sets you don't see that often, as a special Landorus, as a weakness policy Kirim, Specs Rotom Heat. Like, you can name a few sets back to back, which has been bringing every single week, which wouldn't be the first thought of every other coach, and all of them so far did exactly what they needed to be done according to the team builder.
Has been the impressive thing is the fact that it's been something slightly bit unconventional that another coach, or most coaches in the community or the format anyways, would not be looking to build against. And it's just been the execution of it. Because you can come up with all these great sets, but if you do not know how to execute them properly, they're garbage and ineffective. But the fact that Vets week in, week out has been able to come up with an unconventional set and has executed it perfectly and it's done work has been the most impressive thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to say. Like, it's unconventional, and in that point, like that's not the thing which you touched on before. It's not about thinking, oh, this could be fun, let's just throw it on the team. A lot of people do that. I've seen a lot of sets that don't make any sense and also didn't do work. But that's the exact combination what you need it to be the set which your opponent doesn't predict it to be. And it needs to come in, and it needs to do exactly what you thought it would. And that's the hardest part about unconventional sets. Like, I've done it before. I've been trying to run like Block Gastrodon and whatnot to trap certain things, and then it doesn't work. Like, okay, the prep maybe wasn't bad, but it wasn't executed right. And so far, we're 4 weeks in. Every week, I think I named them, the Specs Rotom Wash, 2 times Physical Landorus, and then also one time including Rock Polish, physical, Special Landorus, and one time with Rock Polish, and now the Weakness Policy Kirim. Like, they all worked so far, and that's a really high amount of unconventional sets working in one season already, and we're only in week 4.
It's crazy. He's a bad man. He's a bad man.
Yeah, we established that before. But anyways, I think unless you want to tell something more about the High Dragons, we're through it.
Oh, I think it's very, like, you know, it was another week, it was another awesome performance. There's not much more we can go on about, and just the Kirim set was again exceptional and it was executed perfectly. Yeah, like, hard to keep praising somebody who just is so good. What more do you say?
Right, well, if that's your taking on it, then before we're gonna take the video out, we're going to quickly look again, just as we did on the schedule for next week, which we're gonna have on a roll. Starting off, Razor Winds versus the Shaymin-Sky. So 2 of the teams which we have in the bottom 7, if you can call it like that. So definitely curious to see how that one will shake out. Then a pretty interesting one on the roll. The Appalachia Thunders versus the Toronto Totodile. So IrishEmerald really doesn't get the easiest match here to redeem himself from that 6-0.
Should be fine. He's got this. Easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we hyped his fight up last week, and I hope this week is the week where it's actually gonna come to fruition, and that like it's all fine. Good in his mind and whatnot, and he and Squid are going to give us an awesome game.
He's gonna choke. He's like PSG light. He's gonna choke. Easy.
Alright, then moving on. Salt Lake City Swampards versus Helsinki High Dragons. So we have been talking that the Swampards need to get their act together and play like they did in week 1 and week 2, and they're up against team number 1 for the whole season so far. So it's going to be a tough job, but again, if he accomplishes that, I definitely think that out of nowhere he got the trust from both of us back out of nowhere if he gets set off.
Gift though. Big if, you know, and like, you know, if Pepsis rocks the tank top out like what he was doing last week and shows off them guns, like with the, you know, the weakness plus Curran Black and the sit up Lando, like it's, you know, could be a bad day. Let's
see, then second to last we have the New South Wilmers versus Toronto Tyrantrum. So again, 2 teams which we have in the bottom 7 are going to face off again, so it's always going to be interesting. And then the last match.
6 is on a good run.
Yeah.
6 is on a good run as well.
And then the last match. I know we have the Swampers versus the High Dragons, we have the Thunders versus the Totodiles. I think this last match is the one I'm personally looking most forward to see. Not because of the rankings, but just because of these 2 coaches who are going to face off against each other in Skyrender and the Scandinavian Stoutlands versus Marlot and the Slovenian Slowbros. Which we have been talking about Marlot. Marlot has been playing well versus these higher ranked teams, but didn't got the W. And now he has to face against another one of those type of teams, like a top 4 teams, and he's gonna face off against Skyrender, who just got that 6-0, losing all the confidence from that. And in general, I like also watching their videos, always throughout these power ranking series. I'm really looking forward to that match.
It's gonna be good, and it's definitely going to be it's put up a show up time for Marla. I think this is going to be the game that we're going to find out if he's contender or pretender. So this is definitely put up a show up time for him.
So, do you agree? Are you looking for to which game are you looking forward the most out of those 5 we have? I'll say Stout and Slowbros. That's it for me.
I'm looking forward to seeing Squid and Ash. I feel like both of them have a slight chip on their shoulder that they kind of have a point to prove.
Right.
That's for me is my game.
I can see that too. But definitely 5 awesome games again on the roll, which we'll be talking about in the next power ranking video. So guys, as always, thank you so much for the support we're still getting on those videos. We really love to read your comments and whatnot. Of course, be sure to subscribe to the UBL channel if you haven't done already, and to both myself and IrishEmerald in general, as we do make our own content too. And of course, likes, everything down below, really appreciate it. And that's it for me, so you're gonna take us out, Irish?
Yeah guys, look, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm gonna see you next time.
Bye.